Well, I'm not sure who's in charge of the music today, but we're here ready for Algebra 1. This today is Exponent Review, and hopefully you will know everything that we've been doing, and this will be a piece of cake for you. So bust out those notes. I want you to turn to page 136, slide 136 in your notes. I think that's the right slide for you. Go check it out, see if that is blank. You should have a blank graph right there. Alright, so what I want you to do, basically I'm just going to have you hit pause and then try the problem and see what you get. Go ahead, hit pause and see what you get for this. Alright, hopefully you have done this problem, and so here is what you should have gotten on your calculator. My calculator for -2 told me the answer was 3, and then this was 1, -5, -23, and -77. Now when you're graphing this, you knew that you were going to go to that number right up there, that 4. I'm going to grab my 4 right here and then draw a dotted line going straight across. Remember, that is called the horizontal asymptote. Sounds bad, it's not. Horizontal asymptote right there at the 4. Now we know that our graph is going to get close to that 4, but it'll never touch it. Alright, so let's check it out. -2, 3, -2, 3 goes right there. -1, 1 goes here. 0, -5 goes there. 1, -23. Oh, sorry, I got some ink on your floor. Well, ignore that. Alright, so I have 3 dots. They look kind of linear, but not quite. So if you're ever not sure what it's supposed to look like, go ahead, put another number right here. And when I typed that in the calculator, that was 3.66, all repeating. So -3 and 3.66 takes me to about there. Alright, that's good. Also, I should know that I'm getting close to that asymptote but not touching it, so that should help me know where to graph it also. Alright, so your graph should have looked something like this. If you got that, way to go! Okay, next you're going to flip over to, I think it's page 158, 157, somewhere around there. It says Exponents Review. So what I want you to do is, there are a few of these right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these multiple choice problems. You go ahead, knock those out, hit pause, knock them out, and then come back to me. Okay, by now hopefully you have had the chance to do this. So my hope is that you saw all of these things, they were multiplied together, so you rewrote them in order. The 5, the 2, then the A's go together, then the B's, but you remembered if there's no exponent up there, you're always going to put a 1. So that's B to the 1st, B to the 5th. We've got our C cubed and C to the 1st. Then 5 times 2 gives me 10. A, you add the exponents, and add the exponents. So which one does that match? Well, it should have matched E, like elefante. Alright, so when you're doing these problems, even if you have multiple choices here, here's the trick to doing multiple choice tests. I know some of you say that you're really good at guessing, but let's be honest, we're in summer school for a reason. So we're probably not great at this multiple choice stuff. So here's my advice when you're taking a test that's multiple choice, such as most of our final exams have big multiple choice sections along with the I step and tests like that. So when that happens, my advice is, in the beginning, cover up the answers. Don't look at them. Work out your answer just like you normally would, and then in the end, that's when I go back and look at the answers. I'll tell you, most multiple choice questions, when I make them and when other teachers make them, we purposely choose answers that people would put if they made common mistakes. Good looking answers. So for example, this first one would be a good looking answer to a lot of people because they knew that they needed to add the exponents, so sometimes they will add the 5 and the 2 to get 7. Sometimes they'll multiply exponents. So like 4 times 2 for the a's would give you 8. Silly things like that happen a lot. So I put down those things for a reason. So please do the problem first, then look at your options and see if they match. If they don't match, then you know you screwed up and go back and you can try to fix it. Okay, on we move to this one. Hopefully you knew that anything to the 0 power just gives me 1. So I can just basically cancel that. These have no exponents in them, so I can put a 1. There's a 2 touching, so I'm going to distribute that to both of them. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. 3 squared gives me 9, so I'm looking for 9x squared. That answer was D, like donkey. On we move to our next one. And speaking of move, hopefully you know who likes to move it, Y likes to move it, Z likes to move it, and I bet you like to move it too. Alright, so X stays right where he is, Z went up, and Y went down. Remember to change those exponents to positive once you move them. So which one does this match? It looks like B, like burrito. Moving on to the next one. This one, there are no negative exponents to worry about, so this was just a flat out, can you remember to distribute all the exponents? So I'm going to copy all my bases and then multiply my exponents. So that gives me 15, 10, and 20. Again, if I added the exponents on accident, I would have gotten this beautiful answer right here. That's why we don't want to look at the answers first. So I got 15, 10, and 20. Which one does that match? It looks like A, like aardvark. Moving on to this one. Woo! This one's a little more difficult. So I'm going to make some room here. Let's see if I can move this over. Nope, it doesn't want to move. It hates me. Let's see if I can make it move. Can it? No. Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Alright, so I moved it all over. Let's hope the answer is not A or D, because if it is, then I'm not going to be able to see it, but we'll worry about that later. Alright, so anything that does not have an exponent, you put a 1 there, of course. You have 2 different options here. One is to distribute the negative first, and the other is to move stuff first. My advice is always distribute the exponent first, because that way it's going to be a little less work for you in the long run. So let's distribute that negative. This gives us 2wxy, 3wxy. Notice the reason why I'm putting those bases there is just to save myself a little bit of brain power. So I'm not having to think about it. I'm just plopping them down, and now all I have to do is multiply. So 1 times -2, -2 times -3, -2 times 4, and -2 times 1. Then on the bottom, -2 times 1, -2 times 2, -5 times -2, and 3 times -2. Okay, now you like to move it. Who else likes to move it? 2 does, 3 does. They all have negative exponents. This guy's got a negative exponent. So does this one, and this one, and this one. Oh my goodness. Everybody's got a negative exponent. Almost. Alright, so they all flip spots. So my 2 squared goes to the bottom, my 3 squared goes to the top. Remember to change those exponents to positives. W to the 6th was still there. He did not move. W to the 4th did. He moved up with him. X to the 8th goes downstairs, and that goes with the x to the 10th, which is not going anywhere. Y to the 6th and y squared change places because they both like to move it. They both have negative exponents. Alright, we're almost there. 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. My w's are together, so we added those exponents. The x's are together, so we added those exponents. The y's are not together, so I have to subtract. 6 minus 2 gives me 4. The bigger exponent was on top, so my y goes on top. Now, which of these is this? Oh my goodness. Oh, thankfully it is right here, letter E. That one that I just made darker instead of lighter, well, you knew what I meant. That's the one I want right there, and I'm circling it in blue, which you can't even see. Alright, good enough. That is our answer. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, let's pretend you got that last one wrong, or you're not feeling confident about this one because of the last one. Now that we've seen the last one, let's see if you can maybe go back and tweak it. If you think you're wrong, go ahead, hit pause, tweak this one right now. Otherwise, we'll just move on. All right, hopefully you have double checked your answer and you're feeling good. So, first step, if we have no exponents, we're going to put a 1, just like before. We're going to go ahead and distribute that 2. So I've got 2w x y on top, on bottom, 3x y on bottom. Multiply all the exponents. So this one gives me 2, negative 10, 12, 14. On bottom, 2 times 1 is 2. Then negative 6 and 10. Okay, who likes to move it, move it? Let's highlight everybody who likes to move it, move it. That'll be a little easier on me. So let's make it smaller. There we go. All right, he likes to move it, move it. So does he. Oh, those are the only two things that like to move it, move it. Great. Less work for me. So I've got 2 squared, that stays the same. X to the 6 comes up. X to the 12th stays where he was. That W to the 10th goes down. And the Y's stay where they were. Okay, this is looking like a pretty nice one. So 2 squared is going to give me 4. 3 squared is going to give me 9. X's go together. I add their exponents. Remember, the exponents are not touching. The x's are multiplied, so we're going to add the exponents. W to the 10th, there's no other W there, so that makes it easy. And then down here I've got 14 and minus 10 because there's top to bottom. 14 minus 10 is 4. Biggest exponent was on top, so I keep my my y here on the top. So which one of those match? None of them, because we're going to have to go off the screen. It looks like we should have chosen A. That is A. So in case you can't see it, oops, in case you can't see it, there it is again. You chose letter A. All right. I'm hoping you got that one right. If you got the last 2 wrong, then go ahead, hit pause, check this one over, make sure you got it right, and then come back to us. Otherwise, off we go. All right, here we go. So when you have no exponents, you're putting a 1, just like that. Distribute the 1. I have a 9, a W, an X, and a Y. On the bottom, I have 4, W, X, Y. We're going to multiply everything by negative 1, because negative 1 is my exponent on the outside. So really, you're just changing the signs to all of these. That should make this one a little bit easier. However, you've got a ton of negatives here. Who likes to move it, move it? Oh, we got a lot of people that like to move it, move it. Holy cow. Do all of them like to move it, move it? Absolutely all of them are negative. So all of them move it. So here we go. We're just copying the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. 4, W, X, and Y. Whew. All right. 4 to the first power we know is 4. 9 to the first power is 9. We're going to subtract our W's because they're top to bottom. The big number was on top, so my W will stay on top. I did 11 minus 1 to get 10. I've got 30 and 12. My bigger number is on top, so my X stays on top, and that gives me 18 when I subtract 30 and 12. Next, I have 7 and 3. Man, it looks like all of them stay on top because the bigger number was on top for all of them. 7 minus 3 is 4. So this one looks like it should match way over here. Letter D is what it matches. So you should have chosen D like donkey. All right, final one of these anyways. All right, I'm hoping nobody got the last 3 wrong, but if you did, go ahead, hit pause, change your answer to this one, and see what happens. Okay, here we go. Now, this one was a little tricky because the negative, both of these negatives are in parentheses. So you kind of have to keep it in parentheses here. Since the negative 3 is inside these parentheses, we're going to keep it there. And then we have W and X and Y. And on the bottom, we have W and Y. I'm going to put a 1 for all my exponents that don't already have, or all my bases that don't already have an exponent. go ahead and multiply negative 2 times all of your exponents here. Negative 18, negative 6, negative 2, negative 6, negative 2. You're going to tell me if I make a mistake, right? Yeah. All right. We know that'll never happen, right? All right. Here we go. That's got a negative exponent, negative exponent, negative exponent, negative exponent. There and there. The only one that's positive is that w. So the w is going to stay the same. Everything else is going to go to the other side. So I'm copying the top down to the bottom except for the w. And the bottom up to the top like this. All right. Any questions so far? I feel like I've screwed something up. I don't know why. I'm feeling panicked, but let's see what happens. So this, oh, that was a negative 3. I almost missed it. So negative 3 all squared gives me a positive 9. Negative 2 all squared gives me a positive 4. Now, if you had a negative 9 and a negative 4, you got kind of lucky on this one because they both ended up canceling out anyways. Your negatives did. So make sure, though, that if you have a negative symbol inside the parentheses, that when you do it over here, it stays inside parentheses. That answer could have been different without the parentheses if they had not just been on top of each other and canceled each other out. So here I've got the w's together. That gives me 10. I have only one x, so I'm going to copy that one. Now, finally, I have a bigger exponent on the bottom. So I'm going to write my y on the bottom. 6 minus 2 gives me 4. And I'm feeling like that's my answer. Does this match anything? Oh, yes. It matches B right here. B like burrito. All right, on we move. Oh my gosh, there's another one? All right. I didn't mean to do that many. So there's 2 more. Oh, we're going to skip those. Hopefully you matched up those. If you didn't, feel free to contact me during the office hours or email me and let me know that you were still struggling on those. All right, now let's go to this. We're going to do the compounded, the decay and growth, and also the half-life formulas. So you go ahead, read these next 4 questions, I mean, and see if you can figure out the answers to each one. Go ahead, hit pause, do that, and then come back, and I'll show you how to do it. All right, here we go. Melissa's first bonus, $10,000, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we see the word compounded. So when I see the word compounded, I'm going to go way back. If you remember our friend Aunt Mildred, she gave us a lot of money, and we use the compounded interest formula just like this. So I'm going to use my secret cheating method of copying, and I'm going to go down and paste like that. All right, so to write the formula, all we have to do is plug in y equals, P is the principal, this is the original amount, which is going to be $10,000. I'm going to put 1 here because it's always 1. R, matey, I'm going to take this number because it has a percent symbol and divide by 100 because that's what percent means. So that gives me 0.14. N is monthly, is the magic word we're looking for. N is always the number that is talked about after the word compounded. So after compounded, if you see daily, yearly, monthly, weekly, whatever, this word is the one you're looking for that tells you N. Since it's monthly, there's 12 months in a year, so I'm going to put 12 there. Of course, we put our exponent right there in parentheses. Oops, and I put a T there just automatically out of habit, but they already gave me what the time was, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so my N, we just said was 12, and then my T, my time, was 25. All right, so I take out my calculator. I press the on button. I type 10,000, parentheses, 1 plus 0.14 divided by 12, parentheses, exponent, parentheses, 12 times 25, parentheses, equals, let's see, 25 years. You're not going to believe this. We ended up with $324,513.08. That's a lot of cash from just $10,000. But in 25 years, that's what $10,000 can really become. So, very important thing for you is saving money for a long period of time does amazing things. Saving is good. All right, on we move. This one is a growth formula. It's growing at a rate of 9%. The word compounded is not there. There's no half-life formula. So we are going to go ahead and just use the generic old formula like that. So A is the amount that we have in the end. 2,400 was our number of people. 1 always goes there. R is 9 divided by 100, which is 0.09. T is our time, and I was looking for a number, of course, but 10 is our number right there. So in our calculator, type in 2,400 times 1 plus 0.09, exponent key, and 10. And that will tell you 5,681.67, but this is talking about people. Even short people still count as whole people, okay? So we're going to round up to 5,682 people are on Francois Island. All right, on we move. Edwin, he spills 10 gallons of eustachium, which has a half-life right here, of 5 hours. So I can stop right there. I already know what formula I have to use. It's the half-life formula. A equals P times 1/2 to the T over H. All right, the original amount, or the original population, I think of it as, of eustachium is 10. 1/2 is always here because it's the half-life formula. T is time. This says 24 hours. Our half-life is also in hours. They both have to be the same label, remember. So since they're both in hours, I'm just going to use those numbers. Half-life was 5 hours, so that's going to be where the H is. 24 is your time, so that's going to be here where the T is. Remember to always put your exponent in parentheses. So in your calculator, you're typing 10, parentheses, 1/2, and you can use the fraction button if you want a fraction answer. Otherwise, probably a decimal would be making more sense here. So you could do 1 divided by 2 in your calculator. And then exponent key, and then 24 divided by 5. End the parentheses, and you should get 0.36-ish. And this was in gallons, so I'm going to put gallons. Okay, you can always check to make sure that your answer makes sense. You had 10 gallons, and then every 5 hours, it's going to cut in half. So after 5 hours, so this is like 0 hours, 5 hours, you're going to be cutting in half. 5 more hours, you're going to cut that in half. 5 more hours, you're going to cut that in half. So half of 2.5 is 1.25. And 5 more hours, we're going to cut that in half. And half of 1.25 is 0.625. 5 more hours would be the previous answer times half, or divided by 2. That gives me 0.315. All right, so in 25 hours, I should expect 0.31. In 24 hours, a little bit more than that still. And so, yes, our answer makes sense. If I just lost you on that part, it's just a way to check your answer, so don't panic. All right, we've got Heidi. She's buying an autographed photo of Jose for $20. Sadly, it depreciates at a rate of 7% per year. How much can she sell the photo for in 9 years? This one says depreciates, which means that your value is going down. When that's the case, chances are you're going to use this. When I see depreciates, I like to put a minus here just to remind me so I don't forget, like I did in the previous notes. So here we go. P is the original amount that you had, that's $20. Here I've got 1 minus 7%. When I put that in decimal form is 0.07. It's 9 years, so I put a 9 there. On my calculator, I'm typing 20 times 1 minus 0.07, and then exponent key 9, and my calculator says that amount is 10.41 since we rounded, and this is money. So in 9 years, Jose's autograph is only worth $10.41. Poor Jose. All right, that's all the review we have for today. Go ahead, open up Canvas, take out that homework, and get to work on that. I hope all of you have an awesome day. Please, please, please find me on my office hours. Send me an email if you have questions. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye. the musicians are a little slow. This again.